The quiet hum of Earth's orbital observatories was suddenly pierced by a signal that no one had expected. Commander Elena Reyes, sitting in the main control room of the International Space Observation Hub, frowned at the blinking alert on her monitor. The radar screen displayed a massive object moving at a speed that defied all known physics. Its trajectory suggested it was entering the solar system from an unknown direction, and the calculations projected it would reach the outer planets in just a few days. The room filled with tension as technicians and scientists exchanged uneasy glances, their fingers flying across consoles to double-check the readings. The object was unlike anything humanity had seen before. It was enormous, easily the size of a small moon, and its form didn't match any known spacecraft or asteroid. Its metallic surface reflected faint light, but it shimmered with a strange, almost unnatural glow. Elena's mind raced as she considered the possibilities. Was it a natural phenomenon, or was it something constructed, something intelligent? The thought made her stomach tighten. Even seasoned scientists and military officials whispered among themselves, the fear and curiosity mingling into a palpable energy that charged the control room. "Command, you're seeing this too, right?" asked Lieutenant Marcus Hall, his voice betraying a trace of disbelief. He pointed at the monitor where the object's speed seemed to increase in bursts, making it almost impossible to track in real time. "This isn't just fast. This is impossible. There's no known propulsion system that can move like this without tearing apart the craft itself." Elena shook her head slowly, her eyes glued to the screen. "I see it, Marcus. I don't know what it is, but it's coming. And we need answers, fast." Her voice was steady, but inside her mind swirled with questions. How could humans prepare for something that didn't even belong in their known universe? The thought of an alien vessel, armed or not, approaching Earth at such speed sent a shiver down her spine. Meanwhile, across the world, other observatories were picking up the same readings. Scientists in Tokyo, Paris, and New York confirmed the anomaly. News channels were buzzing with reports of a mysterious object, though official statements remained cautiously vague. Panic simmered just below the surface, while curiosity and fear battled for dominance in the hearts of those who learned of the approaching vessel. Governments convened emergency meetings, debating how to respond without causing mass hysteria. Back in the observation hub, Elena's team watched as the object seemed to change course subtly, almost as if it were aware of the sensors tracking it. The monitors flickered, showing energy readings that defied explanation. This was not just a physical object moving through space. It emitted pulses, bursts of energy that disrupted electronic systems for a few seconds at a time. Every time the pulse hit, monitors went blank and alarms rang across the room. The human-made instruments, finely tuned over decades, struggled to cope with something so advanced. "Energy readings are off the charts," said Dr. Liang, the lead astrophysicist, her voice trembling slightly. She tapped rapidly at her console, trying to stabilize the data. "Whatever this thing is, it's not just moving through space, it's affecting it. Look at this. Fields, radiation, unknown energy signatures. We've never seen anything like it." Marcus swallowed hard. Are we looking at a weapon?" The words hung in the air, heavy and chilling. Silence fell over the room. The possibility that this enormous, fast-moving object could be hostile was terrifying. Humanity had never faced an adversary like this, and there were no prepared plans, no simulations that could predict the outcome. Every mind in the room raced to imagine scenarios, each one more frightening than the last. Then, without warning, the object emitted a pulse of energy so powerful that it caused the lights in the observation hub to flicker. Consoles shut down for a few heart-stopping seconds, leaving the team in darkness. When the lights returned, the readings were even more alarming. Communications were jammed. Sensors scrambled. Even the backup systems struggled to bring themselves online. It was as if the vessel itself had acknowledged the humans were watching and had responded. Elena leaned back in her chair, her eyes narrowing as she studied the data. "It's intelligent," she whispered. "It's not random. It's aware we're here." The room was silent, everyone holding their breath. The thought of a conscious, calculating force moving toward Earth at impossible speeds was more terrifying than anything humanity had ever faced. Outside, the night sky remained calm and silent, giving no hint of the approaching danger. Yet the distant stars seemed to shimmer with the reflection of the vessel, moving closer with every passing hour. News of the detection had begun to leak, sparking theories, conspiracies, and fear across the globe. Social media buzzed with speculation. Was it a secret human project? An alien scouting mission? Or something far more dangerous? For now, there was only one certainty. The vessel was coming and humanity was watching, powerless to stop it. Each pulse it emitted sent shivers through electronic systems and human minds alike. The countdown to contact had begun, and no one knew whether the first encounter would bring communication, destruction, or something even stranger. As the object continued its rapid approach, Elena and her team prepared for the unknown. Every calculation, every observation, every precaution was being pushed to its limit. The entire human race held its breath, staring into the depths of space, knowing that soon, whatever it was would arrive, and humanity would have to face it head-on. The night was quiet, almost serene, but beneath that calm, the heartbeat of suspense and fear grew stronger with every passing second. And then, as if to announce its presence even more boldly, the unknown vessel emitted another strange energy pulse, brighter and stronger than before, sending system-wide alerts across every observatory and space station on the planet. Humanity had officially made first contact, but no one knew what it meant, or what would come next. The strange pulse that echoed through Earth's systems left the world in silent panic. Communication lines buzzed with emergency messages, and the Global Space Command went on high alert. Around the world, nations that once competed now worked together, united by one terrifying truth: something powerful and unknown was coming. Commander Elena Reyes stood in front of a massive screen at the International Defense Headquarters, surrounded by generals, scientists, and engineers. The air felt thick with tension. Everyone's eyes were glued to the live feed showing the unknown vessel, now much closer, its massive structure gliding silently through the dark void of space. Its size dwarfed even Earth's largest battleships. Elena's voice broke the silence. "Has it changed course again?" Lieutenant Marcus Hall, still at his console, replied quickly. "Negative, Commander. It's maintaining a direct path toward Earth. Estimated time to reach lunar orbit: 48 hours. The room filled with uneasy murmurs. The unknown vessel had crossed the orbit of Neptune 2 days ago. Now it was already between Mars and the Moon. Nothing human could move that fast, not even the most advanced prototype ships. Every physicist on Earth was struggling to explain how the vessel ignored the laws of motion and gravity, as if they didn't exist. Dr. Liang, now head of the science division, leaned over her screen. "Its energy readings have increased again. Whatever it's using for propulsion, it's beyond anything we understand. It's bending light itself around the hull. We can't even scan its surface properly." A general spoke from across the table, his tone grim. "If it's bending light, our weapons won't even lock on." "We're blind." Elena straightened, her jaw tight. "Then we'll find another way. We're humans. We adapt." Those words seemed to settle the room for a brief moment. Engineers and technicians nodded, inspired by her determination. Across every major city, military bases went into silent preparation. Satellites realigned their sensors. Fleets of defense ships left orbiting stations, forming protective lines above the planet. Even old Cold War bunkers were reopened as scientists rushed to power up ancient systems that might still prove useful. In deep orbit, the Earth Defense Fleet gathered, 27 ships, each carrying hundreds of crew. They were powerful, built for war, but no one knew if that would be enough. The UNS Valor, the flagship of the fleet, was at the center, its sleek design glowing faintly against the stars. Inside, crews moved quickly, securing weapons, testing shields, and waiting for orders. Captain Rena Cole, commanding the Valor, stared at the image of the unknown vessel on her main display. "Looks like a mountain made of steel," she whispered. "But that thing's moving like a predator." Her first officer, Lieutenant Core, turned to her. "Predators hunt when they're hungry. Do you think it's hunting us?" Rena didn't answer. Instead, she sent a coded message back to Earth Command, requesting engagement protocols. If it crosses the Moon's orbit, we intercept. Back on Earth, Elena received the message and hesitated. The entire planet was holding its breath. Billions of people were watching the night sky, unaware of just how close danger had come. Governments released carefully worded statements. Unidentified object under observation, no need for panic. But in truth, the fear had already spread. A blinding beam shot through the fleet. One of the front-line destroyers vanished instantly, vaporized. Another broke apart under the shockwave. The Valor's shields flared and alarms screamed across the bridge. Elena watched the feed from Earth, gripping the edge of her desk. "They're counterattacking," she whispered. Dr. Liang studied the data feed. "Their weapon output has increased by 20%. But look at this. Each time they fire, the energy spike causes temporary shield drain. We can use that gap." Elena didn't hesitate. She opened a direct channel to the fleet. "Valor, this is command. Focus your fire on the weapon ports after each pulse. That's their weak spot." Rena nodded as the command reached her. "You heard her. Aim for the cannon mouths!" "Every ship coordinate fire on my mark." The next alien beam tore through space, grazing the Valor's flank. Sparks flew as panels ripped open, but Rena stayed standing. "Mark!" she shouted. Dozens of human ships fired simultaneously. Missiles and kinetic shells slammed into the glowing weapon ports just as the alien shield flickered. The explosions were massive. Blue and orange fire lit up the darkness. The alien vessel trembled slightly, a deep thunder-like vibration echoing through the vacuum. "They felt that," Kor shouted. "They're taking damage." Cheers filled the Valor's bridge, but it was short-lived. The alien ship began to change again. Its hull shifted shape, parts of it folding and merging into new configurations. Then, hundreds of smaller drones erupted from its sides, each one armed and moving at lightning speed. "They're launching counter units." The fleet scattered as the swarm descended. Drones slammed into ships, exploding on contact. Laser fire lit up the sky like a storm. The Valor weaved through the chaos, barely dodging collision after collision. "Shields at 30%, shouted an officer. "We can't take another direct hit." Rena's voice remained firm. "We don't retreat. Target the core ship. Every remaining missile, fire on my signal." In the command center, Elena watched in awe as the entire human fleet turned at once. A final coordinated strike. "Fire!" Rena shouted. Every weapon that could still shoot did. The combined assault hit the alien vessel dead center. For a brief, breathtaking moment, its light went out completely. Then came silence. Everyone held their breath. Was it over? Dr. Liang leaned closer to the screen, her voice trembling. We did it." But before anyone could celebrate, the alien ship's surface lit up again, brighter than ever. A deep, low hum filled the sensors. The entire structure began to glow, not red this time, but white, blinding, pure, and terrifying. Elena's heart stopped. "That's not damage," she whispered. "That's charging." The alien ship released another pulse, far stronger than before. Every human ship was hit. Alarms blared, shields failed, engines exploded. The Valor was thrown violently, spinning into darkness. On Earth, the screens went dark. The signal was gone. For several long minutes, the only sound in the control room was static. Then slowly, one weak transmission came through. A distorted voice from the Valor. "This is Captain Rena Cole? We're still here. Humanity still stands." The signal cut off again. Elena closed her eyes, exhaling shakily. "Then we fight again," she said quietly. Outside, in the black sea of space, wreckage floated like ghosts. Yet amid that destruction, a few ships still flickered with life. Human ships, battered but unbroken. The war was not over. It was only getting started. The days after the great space clash were silent, painfully silent. The Earth's orbit was littered with debris, and the void where the alien vessel had been was filled with drifting wrecks and the faint signals of dying ships. Humanity had survived the battle, but only barely. In the command center, buried beneath the Rocky Mountains, Commander Elena Reyes stood before a wide holographic display, showing the last known position of the alien vessel. It was still there, motionless but very much alive. "It's hurt," she said quietly. "But not dead." Dr. Liang nodded beside her. "Yes, its energy readings dropped by 60%. That last hit damaged it more than it expected. But it's repairing itself. At this rate, it'll be back to full power in less than 72 hours. Elena's jaw tightened. "Then we don't have 72 hours. We end this before it wakes up again." Around the world, engineers, scientists, and military minds worked day and night. Spaceports were alive with activity, assembling the last of Earth's surviving fleets. Every country sent what it could. Damaged cruisers, automated drones, even old orbital weapons that had been inactive for decades. Humanity was uniting like never before. In one of the hidden hangars, a small group of engineers worked on something new, something desperate. The project was called Operation Spearpoint. It was Dr. Liang's idea. We can't overpower them, she had said, but we can outthink them. We'll create a focused energy weapon, not large but precise. A single shot designed to pierce the heart of that monster. The design was insane. It involved fusing an experimental human fusion core with alien energy fragments recovered from the debris. No one knew if it would work, or if it would explode the moment they tried to use it. But no one cared anymore. They were fighting for survival. Rena Cole, captain of the battered UNS Valor, limped into the hangar, still recovering from her injuries. Her arm was in a sling and burns covered her neck, but her eyes burned with determination. "You'll need someone to fly it," she said simply. Dr. Liang turned to her, surprised. "Captain, this is a suicide mission. The spear point has to get within 1 kilometer of the alien core to fire. No ship will survive the blast." "I know," Rena replied. "That's why I'm the right one for it." Word spread quickly across the fleet. The captain of the Valor would lead the final strike herself. Across Earth, people watched the broadcast, silent and proud. Humanity had been crushed, but their spirit refused to die. Elena Reyes watched Rena's recorded message play on the large screen before the Global Council. Rena's voice was calm, steady. "We are the last line between life and extinction. If this is how it ends, then let it be said. Humanity didn't hide. Humanity fought." Elena stood in silence for a moment, then turned to her officers. "Prepare the fleet. Every ship, every drone. We'll draw its fire and give her a clear path." 2 days later, the alien vessel stirred again, its outer shell restructured, glowing faintly red as energy rippled along its surface. It was recovering faster than expected. Humanity was out of time. The UNS Valor, heavily damaged but reforged, launched once more from Earth's orbit. Its engines roared as it joined the fleet in space. Inside, Captain Rena Cole took her seat at the helm. Her co-pilot, Lieutenant Core, gave her a grim smile. "Ready for one last dance?" he asked. "Always," she replied. The fleet formed up behind them. Hundreds of human ships, many barely holding together, yet still determined to fight. From Earth, Commander Reyes watched the massive formation rise toward the alien ship, like a swarm of sparks against the black. "Godspeed, Valor," she whispered. The alien vessel reacted instantly. Massive energy readings surged across its surface. It had detected them. Crimson light spilled from its weapon ports, and the stars themselves seemed to dim under its glow. "Brace for fire!" Rena shouted. Beams of light shot through space, cutting through several human ships in seconds. But the rest pressed on, weaving between explosions, pushing forward. Rena's voice came over the comms. "All ships, focus your fire on its left flank. We just need 10 seconds. Explosions rippled across the alien hull as the fleet unleashed everything they had. Missiles, plasma burst, even old railguns. Every weapon humanity had left was thrown at the invader. Inside the command center, Elena gripped the table. "She's almost there," Dr. Liang whispered. "Come on, Rena. Just a little closer." The Valor broke through the final defense line, weaving through falling debris and enemy drones. Ahead, the alien ship's massive core pulsed like a heartbeat. A glowing orb of energy. Exposed for just a moment, Rena looked at Core. "It's time." He nodded silently, his hands steady on the controls. "Activate spear point," she commanded. Deep inside the Valor, the hybrid core roared to life. Blue and red energy swirled together, unstable and brilliant. The ship trembled under the power. "Target locked," Core said. Rena smiled faintly. "Let's show them what humans can do." The Valor accelerated straight toward the alien heart. Enemy drones swarmed around them, but the fleet provided covering fire, sacrificing themselves one by one. Explosions lit up the darkness like dying stars. "Range, 1 kilometer, Core shouted. Rena placed her hand on the console. "Fire spear point." A beam of pure energy burst from the Valor, piercing the void and slamming into the alien core. For a heartbeat, everything went silent. Then a blinding explosion tore through space. The alien vessel convulsed violently as its shields shattered and its structure began to collapse inward. The Valor disappeared in the blast, consumed by its own weapon. From Earth, the explosion was visible even to the naked eye, a bright flash that faded slowly over minutes. Then nothing. Elena stood frozen, tears in her eyes. The sensors confirmed what they all hoped. The alien vessel was gone. Completely gone. Dr. Liang whispered softly, "She did it." Elena nodded, her voice trembling. "She saved us." Around the world, humanity celebrated. Cities lit up, people cried and cheered. The war, it seemed, was finally over. In schools, children were kept indoors. In cities, power grids were reinforced. In spaceports, volunteers signed up for defense duty. Humanity had faced wars, disasters, even extinction-level threats before, but never from the stars. Inside the command room, Elena turned to Dr. Liang. Could it be an exploration ship? Maybe it's just scanning us. Dr. Liang hesitated, glancing at the data. If it's exploring, Commander, it's doing it very aggressively. Those pulses it's sending, they're not random. Each one is stronger, more directed. It's mapping our defenses. The words chilled everyone in the room. Mapping? Marcus repeated quietly. Like it's preparing for something. Yes, Liang said. It's studying us. Elena took a deep breath. Then it's time we start studying it back. She ordered every satellite in orbit to focus on the vessel. From the moon's far side to deep space probes, all sensors turned toward the dark intruder. Images came in blurry, distorted by the vessel's strange energy field. Still, fragments showed something terrifying. Rows of glowing structures along its surface, like weapon ports and enormous engines that didn't seem to emit heat at all. As Earth watched, the vessel began to rotate slowly, revealing its underbelly. The movement was deliberate, almost theatrical, as if it knew humanity was watching and wanted them to see. The light from distant stars reflected off its hull, forming a glimmering line that looked eerily like an open eye staring straight at Earth. A low alarm began to hum in the control room. Commander, Marcus said, we're detecting a signal. It's broadcasting directly toward us. Put it on, Elena ordered. A strange series of sounds filled the room. Deep mechanical tones, layered with frequencies no human ear could fully hear. It wasn't speech, not exactly, but it felt intentional. Then the pattern repeated, louder this time, pulsing like a heartbeat. Liang's face turned pale. It's communicating, she whispered. Elena stared at the waveform on the monitor. Or warning us. The pulse stopped abruptly. For a few seconds, the room was silent. Then, one of the technicians shouted, "It's changed course again." Toward what? Elena asked. Directly toward Earth. The air grew still. Every heartbeat in the room seemed to stop. From the deep black of space, the mysterious vessel began accelerating again. Its engines glowed with a dark red light that seemed to swallow the stars around it. Elena's mind raced. There was no time to think, only to act. "Alert all defense units," she commanded. "Activate orbital shields and prepare countermeasures. We have 40 hours until it reaches the moon. Humanity stands ready." Across the planet, sirens wailed in secret bases and command centers. Spaceports launched defense craft and old satellites were reactivated as makeshift sensors. Humanity, fragile but determined, was preparing for its first real contact, or its final stand. And somewhere beyond Mars, the unknown vessel continued its silent approach, its red glow cutting through the darkness like a warning or a promise. The unknown vessel moved closer with every passing hour, its red light now visible from the moon's orbit. Even without telescopes, astronauts aboard the Lunar Research Base could see it, a dark floating mass blocking out the stars. It was enormous, silent, and disturbingly still. The humans watching it felt small, like ants standing before a mountain that might collapse at any moment. Commander Elena Reyes hadn't slept in nearly 2 days. She stood before a wall of screens, her tired eyes fixed on the live feed from the outer defense ships. Every time the mysterious vessel appeared, sensors flickered and data streams glitched. Its energy field made accurate readings almost impossible. "Status?" she asked quietly. Lieutenant Marcus replied, "The object has slowed near lunar orbit, Commander. It's holding position." That statement sent a wave of confusion through the control room. The vessel had moved through billions of kilometers in a straight, relentless path. Now it had simply stopped. "Is it observing us?" Dr. Liang asked, her tone cautious but filled with awe. "Maybe," Marcus said, "or maybe it's waiting for something." Before anyone could respond, the room lights dimmed as another energy pulse rippled across all systems. This one was stronger, a deep vibration that shook the base and made several screens flash red. The crew gasped as data poured in: electromagnetic interference, communications blackout, gravitational distortions. Elena steadied herself and barked, "Switch to backup channels. Keep visual contact." The main screen flickered, then stabilized. The unknown vessel now emitted a faint blue glow along its hull. Tiny sections of it seemed to shift, revealing mechanical patterns like moving armor plates. Then slowly, a smaller object separated from the main ship, a sphere, glowing white, descending toward the human defense fleet stationed near the moon. Captain Rena Cole aboard the UNS Valor saw it first. "Object detached," she reported. "Size approximately 50 meters, moving directly toward us." Her voice was calm, but her heartbeat thundered in her ears. Every ship in the fleet focused their cameras on the strange sphere as it floated closer. It wasn't moving fast, but there was something unsettling about the way it glided. Smooth, perfect, without any visible propulsion. "Try hailing it," Rena ordered. A communications officer opened a wide-band channel. "Unknown vessel, this is the United Nations Space Fleet. You are approaching a restricted defense zone. Identify yourself immediately." No response. He tried again, switching languages and frequencies, but nothing came back. The sphere just kept moving, silent and cold. "Ma'am," the officer said. "No reaction, no signal, nothing." "Keep targeting systems locked," Rena said. "Don't fire unless commanded." The Valor's bridge went silent as everyone stared at the main screen. The sphere stopped a few hundred meters away from the ship. Its surface shimmered with strange moving lights. Then for a brief moment the lights aligned, forming patterns like symbols or letters no one could read. "Are we recording that?" Rena asked. "Every frame," her officer confirmed, and then without warning the sphere unleashed a flash of white light. The Valor's shields flared instantly. Every system screamed in alarm as power levels dropped. On the screen the sphere was gone, but the ship was trembling, caught in a surge of energy. "Status report," Rena shouted. "Shields holding," came the reply. "But we lost sensors. It's like we've been blinded." Before they could react, another flash appeared, this time behind them. A second sphere, identical to the first, emerged out of nowhere and fired another energy burst, striking a smaller defense ship on the left flank. The ship erupted in flames, its hull torn apart in seconds. Rena's voice hardened. "Return fire!" Laser cannons and railguns roared to life. Red streaks of light cut through the darkness, striking both spheres. The shots connected, but instead of damage, the spheres absorbed the energy. Within seconds, their lights grew brighter. "Impossible," whispered Core. "They're feeding on our weapons." Rena clenched her fists. "Switch to kinetic rounds. Hit them with everything we've got." Dozens of metal projectiles launched through the vacuum, tearing forward at incredible speeds. One struck the first sphere, cracking its smooth surface. For a moment, it seemed like it worked. But then the sphere released a shockwave that threw nearby ships off course. From Earth, Elena watched the chaos unfold on her monitors. Her voice trembled as she asked, "Are we seeing this live?" "Yes," Marcus answered. "We've lost 3 ships already. The enemy seems to be testing our defenses." "Testing," Elena repeated. "You mean this isn't their full attack?" Dr. Liang looked pale. "If those small drones can do this, we don't want to see what the main vessel can do." In orbit, the Valor fought to regain control. Sparks flew across the bridge as systems overloaded. Rena gritted her teeth. "Aim at the joint, right where the light patterns converge." Her gunners followed the command. A final kinetic shell launched, striking the sphere at the precise point. The impact shattered part of it, sending fragments spinning into the void. The remaining sphere retreated immediately, returning to the larger vessel. The battle was over, but the silence that followed was worse than the noise. "Report," Rena demanded. 5 ships damaged, 3 destroyed. We've lost over 400 crew," her officer said quietly. "The enemy retreated. For now." Rena stared at the screen, where the massive unknown vessel still floated motionless, its red glow dimming slightly. It almost looked like it was thinking. Back on Earth, Elena watched the aftermath with heavy eyes. "They're not attacking blindly," she said softly. "They're learning from us. Every move we make, they study." Marcus turned to her. "So what do we do now?" Elena took a deep breath. "We stop reacting. We start planning. Humanity doesn't lose because it's weak. We lose when we underestimate what we're facing. It's time to show them what humans are capable of." Outside, the unknown vessel drifted in eerie silence, still glowing faintly red against the stars. Inside that impossible ship, no one knew what kind of mind or machine was observing them. But one thing was clear: the first encounter had begun, and the war between humans and the unknown was no longer a question of if, but when. Earth was silent for the first time in human history. The battle near the moon had ended, but the victory felt hollow. The unknown vessel had stopped its attack and returned to its position beyond lunar orbit. Watching, humanity had survived the first encounter, but only barely. Commander Elena Reyes stood inside the Global Command Center, the soft hum of machines echoing around her. On the main screen floated the dark shape of the alien ship, still motionless, still terrifying. Around her, military leaders, scientists, and strategists argued in hushed voices. No one wanted to admit the truth out loud, that humanity was completely outmatched. "Every weapon we have failed," said General Adisa, his voice low but firm. "Lasers, plasma cannons, railguns, all useless. The kinetic shells worked, but only for a moment. We can't win with brute force." Dr. Liang nodded, typing rapidly on her tablet. "It's not just advanced, General. It's adaptive. The smaller drones learned from our attacks. They adjusted their shields in real time. That means they're thinking." A heavy silence followed. The idea that the enemy could learn mid-battle made everyone uneasy. Elena finally spoke, her tone calm but sharp. "Then we stop fighting like machines. We fight like humans." Dozens of eyes turned toward her. She stepped closer to the central table, her voice growing stronger. "We can't match them in power or speed. But humans don't win by being stronger, we win by being unpredictable. They study patterns. So we give them chaos." General Adisa frowned. "Chaos isn't a strategy, Commander." "It is when your enemy is logical," Elena replied. "They adapt because they expect repetition. They expect efficiency. But what if we stop being predictable? What if we make every move look like a mistake until it's too late for them to react?" The idea sparked something in the room. Engineers began whispering, exchanging notes. Dr. Liang leaned forward, intrigued. "You're suggesting we mislead their AI? Feed them false data?" Elena nodded. "Exactly. Fake communication signals, random attack patterns, erratic ship formations. We make ourselves look confused while secretly setting a trap." Across the globe, the message spread quickly. Humanity would not surrender. Inside orbital bases, crews worked tirelessly. Ships were repaired, weapons recalibrated, and defense grids restructured. The shattered remains of the destroyed vessels were salvaged and turned into decoys. Hollow shells rigged with explosives and electromagnetic jammers. It was a desperate plan, but it was all they had. Meanwhile, the alien vessel remained perfectly still like a sleeping giant. Every few hours, it sent out low-frequency pulses that rippled across the planet's atmosphere, causing temporary blackouts in communication. Each pulse felt like a warning, or a countdown. Captain Rena Cole aboard the UNS Valor stood before her crew, her expression hard but determined. The ship was heavily damaged from the previous battle, but the humans refused to stand down. The engineers had modified the railguns, converting them into makeshift launchers for the trap drones. Rena briefed her team. "The enemy thinks we're retreating. We'll let them believe that. Our decoy ships will draw them in, and when they're close enough, we detonate the EMP payloads. We hit them with everything we've got, but only once they take the bait. Timing will be everything." Her first officer, Lieutenant Kaur, nodded. "And if the plan fails?" Rena's eyes didn't waver. "Then at least we'll go down fighting." Back on Earth, Elena watched the preparations unfold on a massive screen. Hundreds of defense ships were aligning themselves in erratic, seemingly chaotic formations. It looked messy, disorganized, but behind every random movement was a coded pattern, known only to human command. Dr. Liang approached her quietly. "You know this could fail. If they're truly intelligent, they'll see through it." Elena smiled faintly. "Then they'll underestimate us again." "That's their mistake." Hours later, the alien vessel finally moved. After nearly 2 days of silence, its massive body rotated and bright red lights rippled across its surface. Every human sensor flared at once. The ship had awakened. "All units, stand by," Elena ordered. "It's moving toward our fleet." In orbit, Captain Rena watched as the colossal ship glided forward, dark and majestic. The smaller spheres, hundreds of them, detached and spread across space like a swarm of glowing stars. "They're coming," Kaur said. Rena's voice was calm. "Hold position. Let them come." The alien drones closed the distance rapidly, moving in perfect unison. The human fleet scattered in what looked like confusion, breaking formation, retreating, and repositioning chaotically. To an outside observer, it appeared like panic, but hidden among the retreating ships were the trap drones waiting. As the enemy advanced, one of the decoy ships deliberately fired a weak plasma burst. The alien drones instantly changed direction, chasing it like predators sensing weakness. The decoy drifted backward, right into the center of the trap. Rena whispered, "Now." Dozens of EMP charges detonated at once. A blinding flash lit up the dark side of the moon. The shockwave rippled through space, short-circuiting everything within its radius. Human systems flickered but held. The alien drones were not so lucky. Half of them went dark, their lights fading out as they drifted lifelessly. Cheers erupted on the Valor's bridge. For the first time, humans had struck a real blow. But the victory lasted only seconds. The alien mothership responded instantly. Its hull began to glow with a deep crimson light. Energy surged across its surface, and then, without warning, it unleashed a pulse far stronger than any before. The wave hit the human fleet like a tidal storm. Ships tumbled out of formation, systems went offline, and communication channels were filled with static. Rena grabbed onto the console as the Valor shook violently. "Damage report. Severe," her officer shouted. "Shields are gone, engines barely holding." Through the chaos, Rena looked at the massive vessel in the distance. It wasn't attacking again. It had stopped, almost as if it was watching to see what humans would do next. On Earth, Elena's screen went black. For a few seconds, there was nothing but static. Then slowly the image returned, showing the alien ship drifting motionless once more. Dr. Liang exhaled shakily. "They're studying us again." Elena nodded grimly. "Let them. Every time they learn about us, we learn about them too." Outside, the vast silence of space returned. Between Earth and the alien vessel floated the wreckage of human ships glowing faintly against the starlight. But beneath that destruction was a spark, the unmistakable fire of human defiance. The war was far from over. It had only just begun. The silence after the last battle was haunting. The blackness of space seemed to swallow the wreckage of human ships, twisted metal, broken hulls, and drifting fragments that glimmered like dying stars. Yet inside the command centers, humans were not broken. They were angry. Commander Elena Reyes stood at the center of the global command hall. Her uniform was wrinkled, her eyes red from sleepless nights, but her voice remained strong. "They think we're weak," she said. "They think we'll give up because they hit us hard. But they don't understand who we are. Humanity doesn't surrender. We fight until there's nothing left to lose." The room erupted in agreement. Scientists, soldiers, and strategists came together again, working faster than ever. Across the world, factories went into overdrive, producing new drones, missiles, and experimental tech. Engineers designed new armor plating with reflective alloys to resist the alien energy pulses. Pilots volunteered for missions that almost guaranteed they wouldn't return. Humanity had been wounded, but that pain had turned into purpose. Dr. Liang entered the room carrying a datapad. "We've analyzed the alien energy signature," she said quickly. "It's different from anything known, but we found something, a weakness. Every time it releases a pulse, there's a brief delay before its shields reactivate." Elena looked up sharply. "How long?" "Less than 2 seconds," Liang replied. "But it's there. If we hit the same spot during that gap, we might damage it. 2 seconds. It wasn't much, but it was enough for humans to build a plan around. Within hours, the fleet was regrouped. Every ship that could still fly joined the clash operation, the largest human armada ever assembled in space. The UNS Valor, patched and scorched, led the front lines once more. Behind it, hundreds of smaller ships formed an imperfect but determined wall between Earth and the enemy. Captain Rena Cole stood on the Valor's bridge, the faint hum of the ship's systems surrounding her. "Fleet status?" she asked. "All ships in position," her first officer corps replied. "Orders from command. We engage on your signal." Rena took a deep breath, her gaze locked on the massive alien vessel floating near the moon. It hadn't moved in over a day. Its crimson glow was dimmer, but its presence still filled space like a shadow. "Then let's make history," Rena said quietly. "Signal the fleet, move out." Engines roared to life. The human fleet advanced, slow but steady, like a wave of steel pushing against the dark. Inside the alien vessel, lights flickered to life. The ship rotated slightly and red lines began to glow along its surface like veins awakening inside a giant. It had noticed them. "Targeting systems locked," shouted Kor. Rena's heart pounded. "Fire!" Hundreds of beams and projectiles burst forward, painting the void with streaks of light. Explosions rippled across the alien hull, small, fleeting, but visible. For the first time the humans had hit something. "Direct impact," cried one of the officers. The shields dropped just for a second. But before the cheer could spread, the alien ship responded. The space around it warped, bending light itself. Then from its underbelly, massive cannons opened, glowing red like molten suns. "Brace for impact," Rena shouted. But far beyond the wreckage, in the dark reaches of space, distant signals began to echo, faint, repeating, and eerily similar to the alien ship's first transmission. Humanity had won the battle. But the war was just beginning. Weeks passed since the explosion that lit the skies of Earth. The alien warship was gone, its remains drifting silently in the void. For the first time in years, humanity could breathe. The world celebrated Captain Rena Cole, the woman who gave her life so that humanity could live. Statues were planned, songs written, and the name Valor became a symbol of courage. But deep in the darkness beyond Mars, something stirred. It started as a faint echo, a repeating signal, distant but growing stronger each day. At first, the scientists thought it was interference. Then, Dr. Liang decoded it. It wasn't random. It was a message, a warning, or perhaps a call. Elena Reyes stood over the holographic table in the command center, the same table she had used to plan every defense. The signal pulsed on the display, repeating endlessly in an alien frequency. Dr. Liang's face was pale. "It's coming from deep space," we triangulated it. "There are more vessels, dozens, maybe hundreds. They received the distress signal before the first one was destroyed." Elena's stomach dropped. "So the warship wasn't an invasion?" Liang nodded grimly. "No, it was a scout." The room fell silent. Every officer felt the same cold realization. The true war hadn't even started. Across the world, preparations began once again. Every ship that could still fly was recalled. Spaceports became fortresses. The wreckage of the Valor was salvaged, its data cores recovered and studied. Humanity had learned much, and they would need every bit of that knowledge for what was coming. Days later, the night sky changed. Sensors picked up massive readings approaching from the outer rim. Dozens of energy signatures entered the solar system, each larger than the original warship. The alien fleet had arrived. Global panic spread, but humanity did not break. They had survived once before. They would fight again. Elena addressed the world through a live transmission. Her face was tired but resolute. "We are not helpless. We are human. We adapt, we fight, and we endure. This is our home, and we will defend it." The second defense of Earth began. The first wave hit near Jupiter. Human fleets deployed advanced drones built from alien tech recovered after the first battle. They called them Spectres, fast, unmanned ships armed with energy disruptors. The alien ships were massive, glowing with cold white light. Their formation was perfect, their movement synchronized like a machine army. The first clash was brutal. Plasma beams and railgun shells filled space with fire. The humans fought hard, every second buying time for Earth to prepare its defenses. "Fleet Alpha engaging hostile line," reported Admiral Nakai over the comms. "We're holding them for now, but their numbers—" Static cut his voice. Moments later, his ship vanished from radar. Elena slammed her fist on the table. "We need to slow them down. Redirect all orbital cannons to Mars orbit. Make them pay for every inch they take." As the battles raged across the solar system, Dr. Liang and her team worked underground on something new, Project Phoenix. It was based on Rena Cole's final weapon, the Spear Point, but this one wasn't designed for a single ship. It was meant for a planet-wide defense grid, a system that could channel Earth's own magnetic field into a weapon. Ling wiped sweat from her forehead. If we can finish this, Earth can defend itself, but we need more time. Elena nodded grimly. Then I'll give it to you. Days later, the alien fleet reached Earth's orbit. The sky above the planet shimmered with fire as orbital weapons opened fire. The first alien ships broke through, unleashing energy blasts that turned satellites into dust. In the chaos, remnants of the human fleet, only a few hundred ships, formed one last line of defense. The command ship UNS Dawn led the formation. Elena herself was aboard. On the bridge, alarms screamed as another blast hit their shields. "Damage to starboard engines," someone shouted. Elena ignored the noise. "Keep firing. If they want Earth, they'll have to fly through hell to take it." Outside the windows, the sky was alive with destruction. Alien drones swarmed, their red lights flickering like a storm. Human ships fired everything they had: railguns, missiles, even ramming maneuvers. Suddenly, a bright light filled the darkness. A massive alien battleship descended from above, its hull stretching miles long. It dwarfed every ship in the fleet. "By God," whispered the pilot. "It's their command ship." Elena stared at it, feeling a chill down her spine. It was unlike anything they'd seen. Elegant, deadly, alive. She knew in that instant, this was the real enemy. In the command bunker on Earth, Dr. Liang watched as her systems finally synced. "Project Phoenix is online," she shouted. "Charging sequence started." The planet itself began to hum, magnetic energy building, the sky flickering with auroras visible across continents. Elena's voice came through the comms. "Liang, tell me you're ready." 30 seconds, Liang replied. Elena smiled grimly. "Then I'll give you 30 seconds. The Dawn's engines roared as it plunged forward, straight toward the alien command ship. "All power to forward shields," she ordered. "We're going to buy them time." The alien ship fired. A beam of pure energy struck the Dawn, shaking it violently. Consoles exploded, crew members fell, but the ship kept moving. Smoke filled the bridge. 10 seconds, Liang shouted. Elena stood tall amidst the chaos, her eyes locked on the alien giant ahead. "Rena gave us this chance," she whispered. "Let's finish what she started." The Phoenix system activated. A massive surge of light burst from Earth's atmosphere. A wave of magnetic energy so powerful it rippled through space. Alien ships were caught mid-flight, their systems overloading. One by one, they exploded in blinding bursts of fire. The alien command ship tried to retreat, but the wave struck it dead center. It cracked, twisted, and then shattered like glass. Cheers erupted across Earth stations as the alien fleet disintegrated. The sky cleared, and the stars returned. Humanity had done the impossible. Again. In the silence that followed, Elena stood on the Dawn's bridge, looking out at the wreckage drifting in the void. Her crew cheered, but she remained still, her heart heavy. Dr. Liang's voice came through softly. "It's over, Elena. You did it." Elena smiled faintly. "No. We did it." But deep beyond the reach of any sensor, something vast was moving, unseen, ancient, and awake. A low signal echoed once again across the void. The true enemy had just noticed humanity. The stars were quiet again. The smoke of war had finally faded from the sky. For the first time in decades, the Earth turned peacefully beneath its blue shield of light. The alien fleet was gone, burned away by the Phoenix pulse that had saved humanity at the last possible moment. In the days that followed, silence spread through the communication networks. No more distress calls, no more battle reports. Only the sound of the wind, the sea, and the breath of billions of people who had survived the end of everything. Commander Elena Reyes stood on the observation deck of the UNS Dawn, now anchored in Earth's orbit. The glass window stretched endlessly before her, showing the curve of the planet below, green, blue, and alive. She hadn't seen it this peaceful in years. Dr. Liang joined her quietly, carrying a data tablet. Her face was tired, her eyes red from long nights of work. "The cleanup teams have started gathering the wreckage," she said softly. We've found thousands of alien fragments. Technology beyond anything we've ever seen. Elena nodded, her gaze still locked on the planet. And casualties? Liang sighed. Heavy, more than half the fleet is gone. But we're still here. That counts for something. For a long time, neither spoke. The hum of the ship filled the silence. Then Elena whispered, "Do you think it's really over?" Liang looked down at her tablet. The data scrolling on it showed faint, flickering readings from deep space, energy echoes that refused to fade. "I want to believe it," she said slowly. "But the universe doesn't forgive curiosity. We destroyed their command fleet, but we also sent a message." Elena turned toward her. "A message?" Liang met her eyes. "Yes, that humans are dangerous." The words hung in the air. On Earth, the world began to rebuild. Cities once hidden underground opened their gates again. The night sky, once dark with fire, now shone with stars. People sang again, children laughed again. Humanity had faced extinction and won, through intelligence, unity, and sacrifice. At a memorial site in New York, a giant monument rose in the center of the plaza. It was made of white stone and black metal, the two halves representing hope and loss. In the center stood the statue of Captain Rena Cole, carved with her hand raised toward the sky. Below her name, the inscription read, "She gave her life so others could live." Humanity endures. Thousands gathered to honor her. Soldiers saluted, families wept, and children placed flowers at the base of the monument. The broadcast went global. For one day, the entire planet was united not by fear, but by pride. Elena watched the ceremony from orbit. Her hand rested gently on the glass as she whispered, "You did it, Rena. You gave us another chance."